Hi everybody, Lori here for Concord 9th. Thank you so much for joining me today. I'm excited to introduce you to the new 2024 color collection with Concord 9th, and this includes solid color coordinating cardstock, coordinating enamel dots. These are sticker labels so that you can label the front and back of your 6 brand new ink colors. And then we have a package of pattern paper that coordinates as well. So here's the 6 new ink pad colors. Now I used the 2024 swatch book stamp set to swatch out these ink colors so you can really see the true color, how they look stamped. I only stamped these one time. I didn't double stamp, so you're really getting the true color. You can see they stamp like butter. I love how the stamp set also includes the name, so I stamped the name above the color. First up is Wildberry. So here is the Wildberry full-size ink pad, the coordinating Wildberry enamel dots. There are 3 different patterns in the pattern paper pack with each new color. So these are the 3 patterns in the Wildberry. And then here is the Wildberry solid color cardstock. So that is color number 1. Next we have Watermelon. Watermelon is a beautiful, bright, cheery, kind of a, I don't know what do you, pinky red, orange. You got the coordinating enamel dots. Here's the 3 different patterns of pattern paper. So the whole pack of pattern paper gives you 3 patterns for each color. And then of course the solid colored cardstock. Moving on to the next color, we're featuring Creamsicle. And this is a brighter version of nectar. I would say if you're familiar with the existing colors of Concord 9th, they have a very light nectar, and this one's just a little bit more vivid. And then next we have Grasshopper, another great kind of chartreusey green. And then you have those coordinating enamel dots in the 3 different sizes, by the way. These are self-adhesive, 3 different patterns of Grasshopper pattern paper, and then the solid color cardstock. Okay, next is eucalyptus. I love eucalyptus. I used to have a huge vase of dried eucalyptus sitting in my office. Smells divine. Okay, coordinating enamel dots, pattern paper, and solid color cardstock. The last color is Rainforest. You can see how deep, vivid, and rich it is with only 1 stamp using that solid circle from the swatch book set. Stamps like butter, smooth, even, and rich and vibrant. Okay, so you got the 3 different patterns of pattern paper and then the solid color cardstock that perfectly matches. Okay, I'm going to create a project here using the new Primrose Garden stamp set and die set. And so on the back of the packaging, it kind of gives you an idea of what you can do with the Primrose Garden stamp set. What I want to show is how you can get 2 different feels using the same dies, using the same inks, and depending on mood and colors you choose. So this first card that I'm making is going to be very bold and happy. It's going to be more for a happy occasion. And then at the end, I'll show you a second card that is more subdued. Depending on color choices, you can really change the mood of your card. So first I die cut that big panel, kind of gives you that faux stitching border of the blooms. And really you just die cut all those blooms and they fit back into that panel kind of like a puzzle piece. But you can use them a million and one ways. I'll show you on my second card a different variation of how to use Primrose Garden. But here's all the new solid color cardstocks. You've got the Grasshopper here. I'm doing some foliage, some berries with the Wildberry. Here's Creamsicle. This is Buttercup. That's an older color. I've got the Watermelon there and the Rainforest, using all the new colors and all the dies, every single die from that Primrose Garden die set. And I'm just taking all these off camera, running them through my die cutting machine, and I'll show you all the die cut pieces as I go here. So first I did some of the blooms out of white cardstock, the 3 little cluster tiny blooms out of Watermelon. I did the flower center out of Buttercup, and we got Grasshopper for the leaves, Creamsicle for those little medium-sized blooms, more Buttercup for the centers of the flowers. Here we have the Wildberry for the berries, and then these, they almost look like magnolia leaves for that Rainforest solid color cardstock. Now here's something that's optional, but I love to do it. I love to zhuzh up my die cuts using a little bit of ink blending. So what I'm going to do here is take some Creamsicle and very lightly, just subtle. You barely see it, but it gives a little warmth to these white stark blooms. I give a little wash of Creamsicle along the base, and it just kind of gives a little warmth. Now, you could customize these colors. There's going to be so many different looks depending on the color of cardstock that you use. You could also die cut all the pieces out of white cardstock and add color by blending, like what I'm doing here. My second card that I'll show you, I did just that. I used all the die cuts with white cardstock and blended the color. For these little clusters out of watermelon cardstock, I'm taking watermelon with a small detail brush and just giving a little bit right in the center. Just a little dab will do ya. Now, my project is really focusing on the new 2024 color collection. I used only that for the cardstock, although I did bring in a little buttercup here and there. But mostly it's focusing on the new colors. But what you don't know, and I'm sure Concord 9th will show in later videos, is how well these new colors fit in to the existing Concord 9th colors, creating magical and endless color combinations. I did think, I have one of those sticky mats. You could put all these little die cuts on your sticky mat, and then you don't have to, but here I put down a little tape runner to hold these tiny pieces so that you don't spend half the time ink blending your fingernail. And, I like to do it on scratch paper because when I ink blend, I like to dab off. That's why I always use just like old paper that comes in the mail or whatever. I flip it over and I use the backside, because I feel like I'm thrifty and I'm nifty. But I do have those sticky mats, where you could put all your die cuts, it holds them down, and you can ink blend. That's another way to do it. But I like to scratch paper because I'm set in my ways. And I just feel like dabbing off is the way to go. When you ink up your brush straight from the ink pad and you come in hot on your die cut, you could get some stark results, I find I like a smoother, kind of blended in, little blurred look. I guess it's up to you to live your best ink blending life. Here I'm doing some Creamsicle on these Creamsicle blooms. I love the tone on tone effect. It gives a little bit of gradient love, but it's not like a competing color. It's not like overpowering. It's just a little bit of shadow, a little bit of interest. Here I'm bringing in Grasshopper on the side of these Grasshopper little leaf clusters, and it just adds a little depth. A little bit. I don't always zhuzh my die cuts. But when I do zhuzh, you know what they say, go hard or go home. So zhuzh it out the wazoo if you're going to zhuzh it. You know the other thing I love to do? The other way I use the word zhuzh is after I get all the blooms adhered down, I zhuzh them. And that just means I kind of bend them, manipulate them, lift them. I love the zhuzh. It has very many meanings. I don't know how you spell it. And I probably am not using it always in the right context. But hey, last time I checked, there's no zhuzh police out there. Here we have Rainforest onto these Rainforest. I love these leaves. They're beautiful, like kind of a magnolia leaf. Here I pulled out Honeycomb and doing a little bit on these little yellow die cuts. I believe that's Buttercup cardstock, but I pulled out Honeycomb because it was a little bit darker. Could have done Buttercup on Buttercup and been consistent, but I grabbed the Honeycomb. Potato. It all works out in the end. Okay, now the fun part, to put it all together. So here we have these, I don't know what this type of bloom is called. Actually, I do know what this type of bloom is called. It's called a Primrose, aka the name of the die set, Laura. Primrose. Putting this one together, and here's the little stem that you can glue on if you want to. So your little primrose bloom is sticking up on a stem, and that looks beautiful. Okay, so there's kind of a side view of the primrose. Now here's like just a front facing. Another option you could do if you want to die cut two of these white blooms and layer them so it looks more like a layered bloom. So again, you could customize the look by how simple or by how, extra you want to be. You can get a lot of different looks. Now I forgot to die cut the berry stem, so I cut a couple of these out of Grasshopper, and then I'll just glue on the berries. I'm using Berry Art liquid glue. It's got that precision needle tip. And then my beloved embellishment wand here. This one's by Simon Says Stamp, but I replace the tip all the time. It's just a great handy dandy tool for when you're putting together all these little intricate die cuts. Highly recommend a precision glue and an embellishment wand. for your die cutting needs. It's all about the tools, you know what I mean? So I love the little wildberry berries with that little bit of wildberry blending. It just gives so much dimension. Now this eucalyptus base here with the faux stitching blooms, it's basically going to act like a puzzle piece here. I'm just going to glue all the pieces in place. Now the more I look at it, it looks like this bloom was layered with 2 white blooms, but I didn't do it. I only did 1. So you can do a lot of different looks. And I'm tucking in these rainforest little leaves here, kind of following the stitching edge, but as I cover it up, you kind of forget, where does it all go? That's why the back of the packaging, also you can look at the website and just follow that. But really at the end of the day, I don't think you can go wrong no matter where you glue these suckers. You're going to have a beautiful look. I'm not a florist, but this makes me feel like I am, and I enjoy that. There's nothing better when a good die design or stamp design makes you look better than you are. It makes you feel like you got your life together, even though you know that it was the genius of Concord and Ninth that's making you look as good as you are. And that's okay. We can enjoy that. Now, this color combination, it's pretty bold. There's a lot going on. Some might say it's busy, but it is fun to do. And I think it could work for really any occasion. But I think it lends itself kind of more for a cheerful occasion. I think it could be a sympathy card too, definitely. But I feel like the colors are bold. They're happy. This is going to be a birthday. I'm going to add a birthday sentiment. Just tucking in those final watermelon little floral clusters. Just adding a bit of that Barely Art glue to the back of each one of these die cuts before I adhere them down. I have a white card base cut to 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. And again, I'm just going to use glue. Nothing's dimensional here. Nothing's been popped up. I am going to pop up the sentiment, so don't you worry. Because dimension is life. Okay, so glue that down. Now here's the Primrose Garden stamp set. All the different occasions. You've got hello, happy birthday, best of luck, thinking of you, thank you. I'm going to use the happy birthday. I'm embossing it in white on a little piece of that eucalyptus cardstock. So it's going to tie in with the color scheme. I use Versamark ink. I used a powder tool to prep it. I'm using some Simon's to Stamp white embossing powder, heating that with a heat gun. Now included in the Primrose Garden die set is this banner die. Of course, it's perfectly sized with the slight little swoopy look to it. These are the little banner edges. I'll show you how this all comes together once I take it off camera, run it through my die cutting machine. Now I'm going to put some foam tape on the back of the middle, this little swoopy banner. And then once I remove that, it'll be so easy to add the little banner ends. And you can do a lot of different looks with this, how you want to adhere the ends. You could line it up perfectly. You could offset it, slightly top, slightly bottom. I'm going to offset my banner end on the bottom on one end and then on the top on the other. And that gives you that beautiful kind of swoopy banner look. It's still sticky with the foam tape. I'm going to use that just to adhere it straight down on top of my bouquet. And there you have a fun, kind of bold, very happy. You can see that I zhuzhed the flowers. They are lifted. They are zhuzhed. They're happy. They're ready to go. Here's card number 2. Using the same Primrose Garden. I use the same new 2024 inks. Watermelon for this bloom. Creamsicle for this bloom, and for the leaves I use eucalyptus, and then also a touch of buttercup here and there. But this card feels more subtle. A thinking of you could be a great sympathy. I really think both cards could be used for either occasion, but I wanted to show you the different mood you can achieve by using different color combinations and also different techniques. The one on the right is all white cardstock with very light blending, and the one on the left is solid color cardstock with blending. And so there you have your lesson on color feels with Laura Fedora. Make sure and check out the new February release over at Concord and Ninth. Thank you so much for joining me today. Have a wonderful day, and I will see you next time.